Are you ready? I think was born ready.
Obviously, you're a little, aggravated by the line of questioning regarding Canelo.
I don't want to touch this, dude. It's so bad, I don't want to touch his name.
I'm working on feeling the art of humbleness. Can you be with me? That's the reason why I'm crying, because I'm not that person no more. And I miss him. But sometimes I feel like a bitch. I don't want that person to come out, because when he comes out, hell is coming with him. And it's not funny at all. It must sound cool, like I'm a tough guy. It's just, I hate that. I'm scared of it.
It would be awesome to, be being a great war. Maybe with a Mexican.
Let's go. Wait, pop.
I have to put the joke.
No. Hey,
thank you.
Perfect for play, man. I appreciate
Good
you.
timing, man.
Can't put predictions, man, but I definitely don't want to leave it to the judges.
Happy Sunday to everyone, and ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another session of EnVivo podcast con Manny Marrero.
Sean El Gringo Hicksa.
Hopper.
We are always breaking it down like it is, like it should be. 2022. It's on fire with some of the best cards that are happening, and pretty excited to talk about that. We appreciate you taking the time to join us on this Sunday. Beautiful Sunday. I get it. Football's almost over, but boxing is just starting. Thank you for tuning in, guys.
Don't talk to me about football, bro.
Oh, my God.
Híjole.
I mean, for me, it's over.
Boys.
For me, it's over. I'm done. I'm done with football.
Every year.
Still going to enjoy it.
I still watched it last night, though.
No, definitely, man. So, got to support the NFL, but got to support boxing. So let's kind of get into it. Wait, hold on. Wait.
Good boxing.
What?
Manny, your background, dude.
What?
What?
My background?
A top ranked background? Like what's going on?
Top rank.
What
No, it's a PBC card. Show respect, brother. Come on.
Dude, but if I put PBC, they're going to charge me. I mean, these guys are charging dimes and nickels for everything.
You might get sued.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Never mind. So,
All right. Well, I mean, are we going to get sued? So they're going to get money off
no
us?
way. They don't know who we are, so there's no way.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
That's true. We always get denied anyways.
That's probably going to
credentials.
happen. Does that make you feel better now?
They don't like Hopper.
There you go.
Now
there you go. Sponsored by
Fox PBC. Bringing you all the best, the fights you don't want, and the fights you definitely don't want to Fox in the house. So let's get to it, brothers. And Hopper, thanks for jumping in. We know you had some pressing items, and you made time for us. We appreciate it, and so do the supporters. Let's talk about that fight and not bury the headline. My brother Hopper says. So we had Russell Magsayo. We'll get into that and some other things. What's your thoughts? Instant reaction, Manny. What's your thoughts?
Man, I mean, what can I say? Morning, G Funky. Appreciate you guys being here. Chicano Prophet. Salute. We had boxing. That's what I can start saying about that. We had boxing, and here's the deal, man. As it pertains to Gary Russell Jr., there's so much hype with this guy at the 126 pounds in where he has held that title more than 6 years. Is that right? 6 defenses, 1 a year. He hasn't fought since 2020. And this is what I tell a lot of people. And you know what? Without disrespecting, because everything we say in the show is a fan perspective, is our perspective. We never want to, take away the hard work that these guys are doing. But I am entitled to my own opinion.
Absolutely.
I think everyone would agree with me that inactivity would lead you to some of the things that happen inside the ring. And I think this was the case for Gary Russell Jr. Am I a hater? I'm not a hater. Was I expecting more?
Yes, you are.
Oh, I could be. Okay, I'll take it. But was I expecting more from a guy that all he does is talk, and try to bring in some of these divas, 135-pounders, even 140-pounders when, Tank Davis moved up there, he was talking trash. Why don't I fight this guy? Because you don't belong in that level. You can't take care of business in your own area, in your own airspace, and now you're trying to, I'm going to put it in a food kind of thing. You're trying to eat someone else's plate before you eat your own plate. And Sean may love that one.
Gringo loves that food reference.
I don't see that. Honestly, guys, I just don't see that. 2 years of inactivity, previously to that, if you think about what he's done in the past, who has he fought besides Jojo Diaz, which it was in 2018?
Johnny Gonzalez.
That was way before, man.
Johnny Gonzalez was on a tear. He had upset Abner Mares.
The last 4 years, my friend.
True. That's true.
Talking about Jojo Diaz.
That was in 2015, I think.
Pico Martinez.
Yeah.
And then the Bayar. I mean, who are these guys? And all of a sudden, you get the number one contender, the mandatory, and then someone that apparently it's not at the level of someone that claimed himself that he is the best pound for pound. That's in his dream. And then he gives us a performance like that, and we're expecting him, and he even said it last night, I haven't fought in 2 years. But then also he contradicted himself. I'll fight anyone. Why was he so inactive for 2 years? And this is what happens. You don't have the speed of the game, of speed of the fight. And then apparently he talked about that he suffered that injury before the Olympics, but then he actually re-injured himself 2 weeks ago. Okay, so if you have everything on the line, if you are looking forward to big major fights and you think that's a risk, why wouldn't you pull back? That makes sense? I get it. Yeah. You're gonna have a lot of mixed emotions, people later on trying to say, oh no, he's pulling back. No, look at him. And he wants to be a macho man and say, I want to stick it through. And then all of a sudden, look what happens to you. I am sorry. I just don't see what other people see about Gary Russell. Hopper, am I in the right track, or are you seeing the Gary Russell that people are seeing?
I don't know, Manny. I'm not going to be as harsh as, I'm not going to criticize him like that. I've always held Gary Russell Jr. in very high regard. I've always thought he was definitely one of the better boxers of this era. Just, he doesn't fight as much to prove it, but I've always considered him in very high regard. And last night's performance, I'm not going to knock him too much for it, man. I mean, he did suffer an injury, and he was fighting with one arm from the third round on, and you can see the show stats at the end. And he's a jabber. That's his bread and butter. And he hurt his jab arm. After when he hurt in the third, I think he threw 2 jabs in the fourth, and then one in the fifth, and then 0 jabs the rest of the way. That's unfortunate, man. I felt bad for Gary Russell, because you don't ever want to see somebody that's that limited, or handicapped with an injury. I don't think it's an excuse.
But I'm not talking about the potential.
No, I know, but I'm just giving my opinion on the fight last night. I'm giving my opinion on the fight last night. I thought that Gary Russell Jr., he did show some heart. But at the same time, do you go in there knowing you're already hurt? I mean, that's something for him and his team to weigh it out, though. It's just. And even with one arm, I thought he performed admirably. I thought there was times where he was catching a mark with some really good counter shots with one arm. I thought that I don't think he won the fight, but I thought he was still competitive in the fight. He didn't get blown out. He was still looking his usual Gary Russell self. Right. I always consider Gary Russell a great fighter.
So you feel like in the first 3 rounds, that he had the jab, was he performing to that level? Or did you see the rust in him?
Yeah, no. Gary Russell's always gonna. If he had both arms, I think it'd probably we'd be singing a different tune. So no, I'm not gonna knock him too bad. He lost, yeah, and he was saying afterwards that he's a warrior. He's and that's respect. You gotta give him the respect. But it did seem like coming into the fight, he was already having the excuses lined up where he said he had an injury, and then. Hopefully his dad's okay, because he said, I heard his dad got a leg amputated or something like that. So, I mean, he was up against it. Why not postpone the fight? I don't know. That's a decision for him and his team and Al Heyman to make. But another thing too, and you always talk about, you talk about his inactivity. And here's the thing with Gary Russell. I can't confirm this. It's just a rumor. But from what I hear in circles and everything like that, he doesn't like boxing. He doesn't love boxing. He's like, I'm trying to blank. Who did we interview?
Mikey Garcia. Well, he's
Jose
like
Luis Castillo. He's like Jose Luis Castillo. They don't love boxing. I heard. My understanding is that Gary Russell Jr. really doesn't love boxing. He's just good at it.
But he's always training, and he's a hardworking guy. And I'm not.
Yeah, no, his dedication is there. His dedication is there. I mean, that's why I've always. I like Gary Russell, man. I've always put him in high regard, man.
But that's the thing, though. That's the problem that I
just
have,
wish
that
he
a lot of
had
people
more
put him
opportunities to show it.
on this
You know,
pedestal,
and the way he handled King
know.
Tug, man. And we'll talk about him too. He opened the fight. So yeah, the way he handled King Tug, you know, people were going in there thinking, oh, King Tug might upset him. 2 years ago, and Gary Russell just handled him, and at their weight classes. So no, I mean, it's unfortunate. I was a little sad to see Gary Russell in there, one arm. You always want to see these fighters at their best, you know, fight each other at their best. And here's the thing, though, and here's another point that I want to make. A lot of people, a lot of fans, a lot of people think that these boxers go into these fights 100%. They don't. If they show up 80% to the ring, they're lucky. They're very fortunate. They just went through a grueling training camp, sparring. A lot of these guys are going to be in there kind of,
that's the preparation
little nicks and necks. So there's a misconception that these boxers show up to fight night 100% healthy. They don't. All of them are suffering something, you know, and it's unfortunate that Gary's was his went from hurt to injured, you know. So
no, he got a lot of heart, and definitely we did see that. But I just didn't see in the first few rounds that he was basically into 100% using both hands. I just didn't see that Gary Russell.
The thing about Gary Russell too, you know, he's like a lot of these more high level elite chess guys, strategic guys. They'll lose the first few rounds to figure you out. You know, slow starters. Terrence Crawford's like that. Lomachenko's like that. Canelo's like that. Gary Russell's like that too. He's going to see what you're going to do. What's your escape routes? What do I do when I jab you this? Which way do you go? He's just downloading all the information. And then, unfortunately for him, before it was processed, before it was finally downloaded, he got hurt. And it just sucks, man. I hate to see it. I hate to see that because it's unfortunate, man.
What I do want to say before Sean jumps on board is that let's not bash Magsayo. You know, a lot of people are like, well, he didn't deserve the win. He's a lesser opponent. Listen, he took advantage of the circumstances, and that's a game plan. Whatever happens inside the ring, you utilize that to your advantage. And he knew, and he admitted it. He was fighting with one hand, and I really took advantage of that and build up within his game plan. So shout out to Magsayo for
the one thing I will say about Mark Magsayo, and I called it like right away in the 4th round. I don't know why the Abner and the Showtime took him until the 10th or 11th round to catch it, but Mark was still circling to his right, to Gary Russell's power, to only workable hand. I never understand it. I told my wife and I told my son who's started boxing class, I go, look, mijo, that guy's hurt. It sucks, but you got to take it. You got to take advantage of it. Circle to your left. He's not going to catch you with anything from the right. It's hurt. What's he gonna catch you with? And Mark and Freddie Roach, I know he's smarter than that. So I don't know what happened there. I don't know why he was still circling to his right towards Gary Russell's left. That's the only knock on Mark that I saw yesterday. And
no, I mean, these are excellent points, and I definitely see where you both are, commenting as far as how the fight went. How I saw it is, I felt like in the first 3 rounds, I thought Magsayo had a good plan. He was definitely had a lot of good pressure and applying, working to the body, which I thought he worked the body throughout the fight. But the thing, it seemed like he definitely lost a lot of momentum, and it seemed like actually when Gary Russell got hurt, right around the 4th round, it actually seemed to have more issues. Yeah, that's true. That's a good one, Puerto Rican. Looking forward to seeing Russell's next 5 years from now. I mean, where are they now? Literally
25.
Yeah, so we'll see. But and G Funky says healthy, sharp Russell.
I think so too. I think so too.
I don't think anybody
no doubt about it in my mind.
I want to see it. I really want to see it because like you said, it's slow start. I'm still waiting to see what he was going to be able to do afterwards. But I can't wait to see a more active Gary Russell so I can jump on the bandwagon. That's just my thought to that.
No, so yeah, that's kind of a thing so just real quick as far as the fight, so we get to our other topics, that I saw the fight as being 7-5. I could see 8-4. I saw Magsayo winning the fight. He did take a lot of control, but honestly, I was impressed. But I don't believe in just giving people oh, wow, look what he's doing with one arm. Even though it was impressive, but the movement did definitely change the fight and definitely did move things around from the standpoint of the adjustments that were made, because the movement really seemed to cause a lot of problems to Magsayo, and he really couldn't adjust. Kind of to your point, Hopper, like that was kind of surprising to me. I feel like if he's able to consistently follow through with the pressure, but I also think that might be kind of a knock on him as far as him able to execute that and also his conditioning, because it seems like Pete gets gassed out quite a bit. Like the last fight he had when he was on the undercard for Pacquiao Ugas fight, you know, when he came back and got that hellified, you know, KO, he got gassed in that fight too. So
and he was behind on those scorecards.
Yeah, he was behind until he got the knockout.
It was the come from behind win.
Yeah, so he's as a brother.
That's a good question, D-Style.
That's a good question, D-Style. And that's the question. Absolutely.
Well, and then he said it was a tendon, right? Torn tendon or something.
Torn tendon.
That's surgery. That's at least 6, 7, 8 months of total, including the rehab.
Just going
especially on that hand that you know your jab. You know that's
let's kind of go with that, right? So basically, in his own words, and we can actually pull the clip up right now. So let me go ahead and do that with that comment that came.
I'm a soldier.
I'm a soldier.
I
beat them 9 rounds to 3.
No limit soldier. I told
you. 10 rounds to 2, 9 rounds to 3. I outboxed him. Hurt my arm. I knew my arm was hurt coming into the fight. You know, I already stated that I had an injury coming in. I just didn't want to reveal what the injury was. Caught a slight head bunt earlier in the fight. But small thing to a giant. I still believe that I outboxed him, outclassed him, outskilled him. At least, like I say, 9 rounds to 3, 10 rounds to 2.
All right, I mean, I don't know. I think it's a little delusional. I don't think he won the fight by any stretch of the imagination. I think Mark Magsayo did barely enough with an injured Gary Russell to pull it off. So, but I love the confidence. That's what kind of like about Mr. Gary Russell is his confidence and the belief in himself that to win the fight. And I think at that level, you got to carry yourself that way.
No, definitely. And kind of going back to D-Style question, we appreciate you. Appreciate everybody in the chat, Puerto Rican Rum, Maestro, G Funky, and Chicano Prophet. But the question is the shoulder going to be, he said he originally heard it in 2008. So if he originally heard it in 2008, yeah, it's going to be a fucking problem. It's been
a problem, right? So I think, well, I mean, he really only, that's why he only fights once a year. So it's not like it's going to affect him. We'll see if in his fight next year, will he be healthy by then?
So I'm gonna say no. So that's another thing too. People are saying as far as like,
he's kind of up in age already, isn't he?
Yeah, he's
not a young buck.
33. Man, I hate
that. Sounds about right.
Yeah. No, I definitely believe. Thank you, Ringside Reporter JC. No excuses. Gary lost. No, he.
Yeah, for sure. No, we're not making excuses for him. Yeah, he's 33 years old.
No, he had something to grab on. He has something to grab on, which it was legit. We all saw that. It's not like an injury that we didn't see anything happening inside the ring. We did see that. I was like, wow, okay, here we go. It was
kind of an awkward injury how he aggravated the injury.
He threw that jab and then
it stopped. What happened was the punch stopped. He wasn't expecting the punch to stop that soon. He was expecting to follow through, and it kind of like when you stop on and it just pops your.
Yeah, no, I mean they were like too close together.
Those hurt, man. Those hurt.
Yeah.
No, definitely. So just kind of take away. So first, kind of before we kind of close this thing out, one, were you guys impressed by the fight? Do you think were you entertained with it? What's your takeaways kind of going forward for both men? It seems kind of like, obviously Magsayo is green. He does have the belt. He has a green belt, to be honest. So how ironic is that? And Russell, I don't know, man. Like, especially him re-injuring himself, if you're going to say that, if it's going to be a lingering thing he's had since 2008, supposedly, that he re-injured 2 weeks ago and then re-injured during the fight. What's your thoughts, Hopper, on kind of where we're at with him?
I enjoyed the fight. There's no, I'm a boxing fan. I'm definitely going to enjoy it. Do I think Mark beats some of the top guys? No, I don't think so. Vaquero sitting there. I don't know. Mauricio Lara, Josh Warrington, Kiko Martinez, Kid Galahad, Lee Wood. I don't know. These are some high level guys. I don't think Mark's. He's the champion. We're going to see what happens with the rematch. If there's the rematch clause or whatnot, I think Gary Russell said he would give him the rematch. So I can only assume that he's the one calling the shots. But I enjoyed it, man. I digged it. It's boxing. Of course, I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna tune in. So I enjoyed it. I'll leave it at that.
No, and Manny, what's your thoughts? What's your takeaway, just kind of in general with the two?
Well, another good night of boxing. 2022 started with a bang. Was it a pay-per-view worthy? PVC on it again.
Please.
It wasn't. But hey, we're suckered to that.
I'm surprised it wasn't pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Dude, don't even give him that idea. Jesus.
I know, right? Shit. But anyway, I think that right now, you know, I'd like to see the rematch because, like I said, I'm a sucker to that as well. I want to be able to see Gary Russell being able to dominate, you know, like he said he would at the 126 pounds. But my concern is right now, if you have one belt hostage for so many years and you're not given an opportunity to unify with any of the other champions that all they do is get a belt and move up, I don't think you'll ever see Navarrete moving up. He's got much bigger, better things than fighting Gary Russell Jr. And that's the thing with Magsayo right now. If the rematch doesn't come through, then now we're going to start seeing some of the other guys at the 126 pounds moving up and, you know, having an opportunity to fight for a title, which it's very limited at 126 pounds. And I'm excited because we have tons of Puerto Ricans that are in that division that finally we may possibly see some opportunities in the future. But I want to see the rematch, and I want to see the rematch, and I want to be able to see Gary Russell live up to the hype and what people really see him. And I see his talent. I see him. He's fast, great lateral moves. He's fast. He did a great job. But can he get to the level to say, you know, unify undisputed at the 126? I don't know.
Yeah, so, well, I mean, at the same time, though, Manny, you gotta call things as they are. He had a difficult time trying to get fights. You know, that's
I don't know.
He seemed as a high risk, low reward kind of guy, and it's been rough for Gary, man, and it's unfortunate because I think he has the potential to be one of the.
So, what do you think? Why do you think it's a high risk guy? If you go in the ring with
someone, because he's that good, and then and it's unfortunate, man. But I'll take Gary Russell Jr. in the rematch, and we could do a prop bet on it.
Oh yeah, no. I tell you what, I had Gary yesterday. I was just
Gringo, you're out.
But I would take Gary Russell in a rematch. I think everyone's entitled. He's entitled to having a rematch and being able to bounce back and prove myself as well, which I'm probably nobody. But it proved all of those fans that don't believe the hype. And I'm up for it. I'm up for it sitting down and putting duct tape on my mouth and not speaking. If Gary Russell comes back and pretty much proves everyone wrong, I'll do it. Why not? Bring it, Gary.
That's a bold claim.
But on the other hand, he's very dedicated. And you said something that I've never heard before. It's like he's not really into boxing, but man, he's always working out at the gym. You know what I mean? So it's and look how built up and buff he was for being inactive all those years. And honestly, I don't believe the fact that he couldn't get fights. He could still fight.
Yes,
people wanted to fight him. He just doesn't want to fight the guys that want to fight him, or no one really wants to fight him. There's just really not interest, and they move up to 130.
Just real quick on it. I'll say that for me, I hope he gets healthy. Whether he wants to fight or not, he does want this fight because clearly it's been very helpful to his career to have the belt and just kind of follow through mandatories. For whatever people that don't want to fight him, I'm not sure if there is a rematch clause, but what I'll say from the standpoint of a fan perspective, if he's not healthy, get healthy. And Magsayo, get whatever fights you can because it's
going to be a short reign.
Yeah, it's going to be a short reign. And you know what? I'll go ahead.
Wow, what a hater. My Filipino brothers are going to.
I know, right? Yeah, we love it. They got another champion. But good story.
A shout out.
Good story, Hopper, that you touch base on his father. That really got me.
Sucked, man. You never want to hear something like that.
So, but other than that, he loves
his. But again, no excuses. You go into the ring.
No. So what is it? 6 kids he's got. He's a family
man.
He's a family man. Shout them out.
And that's good. Pull-out's game is weak, man. Couldn't pull out of a driveway.
That's good for boxing to be able to portray like you're a family man. You're committed to your family, but you're committed to the sport as well. Listen, guys. It's only an opinion in myself, and it's only something to be able to say for me. I want to see more, and I really do. I want to see Gary Russell at the elite level. Where do you see boxers at that level? Unified, fighting the best. Come on, let's get it on.
Yeah, so we'll see where it goes, and I'm a big fan of a fighter that's willing to take on the fights, and then also, for lack of better words, what I see as perceived a vulnerable champion. Because don't get it twisted. There's a lot of people that saw that like, okay, he has a belt. I'm definitely willing to fight that fighter, and that's ultimately what we want. So, good stuff right there. So we got some comments we want to get to real quick. D Style says, Gary Russell Jr. Magsayo 2 live on paper. Oh my God, let me not read that. But
$79.99. Wow, I believe that. Ringo's already ordering it.
I pre-ordered already.
PPC.
Mr. PBC. But they're making it hard this year. I'm not going to lie. This fight will be on high demand. PBC putting a rematch on pay-per-view. I don't know if you're a prophet or not, sir. But let's not speak.
Like Crawford, yeah, he did. He did.
No way.
There was a lot of talk. And then Tank, he's been calling out Tank for the longest. Has more kids than Tank.
Yeah.
That's a good one, D-Style. That made me laugh.
This title defense is no 6-6. It's tied up.
Yeah.
All right, can't pull out Hopper. Yeah, he didn't pull out.
Oh, that's right. He got no pull out game.
He wanted to pull out so bad. He's like, I can't. I can't pull out.
Hey, but shout out to but on the undercard real quick, Gringo, before we move on, shout out to Subriel Matias, got revenge. So what do you think, Manny? Your boy, Puerto Riqueño, viva la Puerto Rico.
Woo!
All right, yeah, we definitely want to talk about that. So it was a hell of a rematch. Definitely was excited to watch it. Extremely entertaining. So, Manny, I know you're chomping at the bit to talk about this one and talk your crap. So what's your thoughts, man? So Subriel, 29, and he fought Anayan. He's 33, which, kind of long in the tooth, honestly, but shit. Man,
they were going at it right away, man.
Here's the thing, though. Subriel Matias has a very different style of boxing, which gets everyone to get plugged into that TV. Not a lot of times you get to avenge your defeats, and this is the type of guy that Subriel is. Not only he's committed to the sport, to the people, to the fans, but he also loves to take risks. The time that he lost against Petro the last time, he was like, I am not going to rest. I'm not going to rest until I get Petros back. He fought Malik. He fought Batrizan, and pretty impressive. And he could have moved on to different.
Was it impressive?
Well, I mean, he was a lot better, and he's been improving. Though. But here's my concern with Subriel. The lack of defense. And he has no lateral movements, which at the 140 pounds, you cannot beat a Josh Taylor like that. You cannot beat Jose Carlos Ramirez like that. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to be very difficult to beat that's got much power punches. And think about this. Subriel is not a big power puncher. Figure that one. He's got 18 fights, 18 of them knockouts, 18 wins, 18 knockouts. But he's not that big power puncher. But what he does, he kind of destroys you. But a boxer that takes so many punches throughout the round, and that's what happened in the first fight. And in the first fight, he got caught up in the ropes, which he also got caught up in the ropes yesterday. But I think he'd already landed enough in where he felt that his power was bigger than Petros, and he caught him a few times. But Petros came back too, and he took a lot. He took a lot of beating. But the interesting thing,
they both gave as much as they both took as much as they gave. And
this is the thing about him. That is the dedication. That is the passion for the sport, to be able to accomplish the ultimate goal, and is to become a world champion. Is it going to happen, man? Things are very difficult at the junior welterweights right now. And I think it's a long waiting list right now, whether it's your number one IBF.
Unless Josh moves up, then vacates all the titles.
And if vacates all the title, then that gives them an opportunity to a lot of people. Also, you got Sniper Pedraza in there.
But I think you got a lot of talent. Cepeda has in line for one of those. Ramirez is in line for one of those.
Sean is also there. So my thing with Subriel, you got to be very cautious with that, because you cannot fight some of these guys the way you did against Petros. We're excited. I'm excited for him because I knew for a fact how much he wanted this fight. I was in Puerto Rico, last week, and was listening to some of his interviews and some of the people from his town, Fajardo, Puerto Rico, and people were rooting for him. And he said, I am going to get my revenge. I don't care. This is bigger than a title fight for me at this particular time. He's not moving forward, and that's what I love about it. He takes care of his business, what's around him. He'll worry about the rest of them later on. He's got a great promoter, locally from Puerto Rico, and he's getting a lot of exposure with PBC and Al Heyman. And I think right now the future is bright. Is he ready for a title fight? Not at this particular time, but I have to say, let's enjoy this victory, because it was a very big one for Puerto Ricans, Subriel, and the people for Fajardo, Puerto Rico.
Okay, so good stuff there. Hopper, what's your thoughts on it?
Oh no, it was a great fight. Yeah, Manny pretty much touched on it all. The only concerning thing was his defense, his lateral movement, his head movement wasn't up to par, or it's not up to par if you're going to challenge some of the elite guys at the 140-pound divisions. We already touched on them: Choan Cepeda, Ramirez, even Sniper. Just some of those guys are pretty elite, man. Josh Taylor, forget about it. That's but baby steps though. Baby steps. He's 18-1. Let's see how he does in his next fight, and we'll gauge him from there. So. Yep. Entertaining fight nonetheless, and he got the job done.
No, absolutely, man. One thing that you talked about, Manny, in regards of him interviewing, keep in mind, I mean, he did have, the fight where he did, unfortunately, kill a fighter, so let's put that out there. But
I was at the morbid.
Sorry, it did happen, but no, he told his manager, if you give me this fight, I'm gonna put that guy in the hospital.
Oh,
so I'm thinking
but honestly, did you see him in the corner when the doctor came in? He couldn't even move his eyes. He was like completely frozen. Like you want to continue? You want to continue? He would no. I thought it was like, wow. I think he was in trouble, and I think he was just really gassed out. They were both gassed out, but Subriel came out like nothing had happened. And when he got in, he was like, dude, you just came from a brutal fight. And you're still looking fresh and clean.
No,
that's huge.
That's another thing that was kind of crazy to me. Again, I'm not sure why boxing. I guess once we see a fight's actually confirmed, we're so excited. We're like, shit, just rematch. Fuck it. People were actually saying they want a third. There's no way there's
no.
Right?
That's it. This is it.
There's no. Why would you have a third fight? I mean, unless there's like a rematch clause.
This knockout proved a little bit more. The last time, it was unanimous decision lost, and then this one proved that he's in a better state and that he could be a much better contender for a future world title than Pedros. Pedros is still going to come back, and Pedros is going to give a lot of hard time to some of these up and coming kids. Like a step up. But if you want to brawl, if you want to be not a technical fighter, but you want to head to head and clash inside in the middle of the ring or in the ropes, Pedros is going to give you the run for your money. So.
I'm gonna go ahead and say it's all true, but I think his career might be over, man. You don't take no ass whooping like that, man. Like it's next level ass
or shortened for sure.
He lost some time off his career,
and that's my concern for Matias too, because if you continue to fight the way you're fighting, and he's always fought like
block punches with your face, that's not
one of the things that hurt Tito Trinidad is the defense and the lack of head movements, and that's why Tito's career was kind of shortened a little bit. Cotto, the same way.
Margarito.
Yeah, but Margarito. But these are guys that they just take a lot of. I mean, think about this. Even Mickey Ward and Andrew and Gatti. Which, by the way, Arturo Gatti, messed up his shoulder, and he still, continue on and gave us one of the biggest fights in history. But what happened to their career? They just take too many punches, and I am concerned. Subriel, if he doesn't really start moving in a direction where he can get some more movements in the ring and apply a little bit more defense, but maybe that's not his style. So we'll see how he comes back on the next fight. Victory for Puerto Rico was pretty big last night.
No, absolutely.
And then real quick, Gringo, before we move on, just want to shout out the first fight, King Tug against Sacario Lucas. They ruled it a draw. I thought Sacario Lucas maybe edged it out but they didn't call the knockdown. The ref, Eddie I guess he was just in a bad position, but that was a clear knockdown from Sacario Lucas. He took the fight on short notice, gave King Tug all he could handle. I thought he edged it out, man. I think the scorecards were very close. If they call it a knockdown, Sacario Lucas wins. So the fact that he went in there with got a draw on short notice, hey, he was happy.
No, man, it's funny you mentioned that because actually they interviewed the referee and he still said he didn't.
Yeah, he's like he would. Yeah, it was hilarious. And then Jim Gray, he's a douche, but he asks the questions.
He's my kind of douche
that need to be asked. So he's a respectful douche.
That's kind of me. That's how I describe myself. All right, so we got some commentary we want to get to. Lee Groves in the house. Much respect to him. Matisse looked excellent, and Anaya's pressure served to draw out every bit of Matisse's talent.
That's
he clearly learned his lesson from one fight. He fired.
First fight, he threw 90 punches in the first 5-6 rounds, and in this fight, he was more measured with his pace. So good stuff, Lee Groves.
Definitely. And Puerto Rican Rum, much respect to you. Always tuning in, and we definitely appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if Matisse will will be a star, but he's going to be a fun fighter to watch for years to come.
Manny, Gringo, Matias has that Mexican style, baby.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah. Yeah,
Right?
it does. And I appreciate you acknowledging that because, yeah, that's going to bring excitement into some of these fights. And I can guarantee you he's going to get ready. And not only that, he's not one of those fighters that is hated either by the people or by other boxers. If you look at his social media and you look how he's always very active with every other boxer that fights in Puerto Rico, he's always cheering up from the sidelines. And that's very important, that you support your other coworkers, right? You support your other competitors from the same island, whether you're in the same division or not, you know, and that's important and that's likable. And that's why people like Subriel Matias. Now they're starting to learn about him. Before, it was like just one of those things. Now he's got those little small pieces, but he needs still to develop. But you're right, Hopper. That Mexican style, brutal. I'm not giving up. You got to kill me in the ring to be able to say I'm gonna quit.
Good heart. But yeah,
no, definitely.
Shout out to Showtime, man. I enjoyed the card last night, and I was channel flipping. I'll be honest, guys, because I was watching the Packers and the 49ers, hell of a game. So I was watching both things simultaneously.
No, that's cool, man. Everybody doesn't have ATVs.
I know nobody has ATVs like Manny in his restroom, in the closet, and his dog carries a portable TV around his collar. Man,
he gets a personal call from the commissioner. So, yeah, another comment. That's kind of the takeaway I have from Matisse, and that's the thing. Like going back to Puerto Rican drunk comment, they don't have to be a star to be someone you look forward to want to watch.
Yeah, to be a fan favorite, to make your money,
the people's champ. That's kind of how I look at it. So I like this comment from D-Style as well. Matisse is fun to watch. He's an action fighter, and that's what I like, man. So bring it on, definitely. Too many people have too much to critique. He's not, going to be a pound for pound guy.
In your face, Gringo.
Great fight.
Be a hater. Jeez.
No, he doesn't have that pound for pound. I think we can't be worrying about right now the pound for pound thing. All we can worry about is right now is what can he accomplish right now at the 140 pounds in a division that's consolidated, and there's a lot of potential. A lot. I mean, right now, we're going to see one of the biggest fights probably in a while in the 140, which is going to be Jose Carlos Ramirez and Sniper Pedraza.
It's got postponed,
does the Sniper have enough? Does Sniper have enough to get Ramirez? Or is it Ramirez really back to try to get a rematch against Josh Taylor? That's the thing. It's going to be a huge fight. It's just a very tough division.
I guess Sniper Pedraza is going to have to wait to get knocked out a little longer. So
yeah, we'll see how that goes. Definitely.
Ooh, he's calling the shots right now. I mean, hey, listen. Let me ask you something. Let me ask you then. Would a Regis Prograis and Matias fight interest you?
Oh, I think, man, that's a good one, man. Regis.
That's what I'm looking forward to. That's what youngsters coming at it.
50-50 right there, man. Oh. Regis and Jose. Well, you know what? I'll call it 52-48 Regis.
Damn, brother.
It's fine. I got you. I got to call my boy, but
you're Ramirez. Right. I'm right for Ramirez, but you got Regis is a fucking dangerous man.
He's dangerous shit. Yeah. There's a reason people don't.
Okay, so do you think Regis may beat Taylor on the rematch?
I think if Regis and Taylor fought in America, Regis would have probably got the decision.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I do too. He was hurting him in the second half of that fight, and the reason that he came out so slow, I mean, he'll always regret that. That's
cocky. He thought he was
he'll definitely regret that. Himself. Now, speaking of being confident in oneself, we did talk about Berlanga roll and that being official and everything, and we're good to go. That they've also added Xander Zayas to the card as well officially. Keyshawn Davis, Henry Mochi LeBron, John Bauza, and Pablo Valdez, and that's going to be the night of the Quinceañera. Shout out to Hopper's sweet girl.
Quinceañera card.
Quinceañera card. So we're not going to officially be watching it, but we are. You changed the background on us, guys.
We're officially going to be watching.
We're officially going to be watching it. So you guys excited about that? What's the deal?
Go ahead, Manny. I know your boy is Edgar Berlanga.
Well, I mean, this is what people wanted to see Berlanga on a different level, and I think he's got another tough opponent in front of him. And, he's going to have to continue to prove every single fight that he can still step up and learn from the past mistakes, whether you got your bicep torn or not, whether you got knocked down and you kind of got up and people felt like he barely, won in that last fight, or disappointed some of the fans that were used to seeing him knocking out, which we've always said it, guys, chill out. He's not going to continue to be that first round knockout artist the minute the opposition steps up. And I'm glad that you guys are seeing that. Now, everyone was complaining that, oh, who is he fighting? Who is he fighting? Well, guess what? This is another tough opponent, for him.
That's a passable grade, JC.
And being able to prove that he belonged, in 168 pounds, and things are going to start, moving along for him. So little by little, Top Rank is taking advantage of some of these contenders that are moving into 2022 and building up awesome cards to entertain us, without have to, damage our budget. And this is why I am so of a fan of the people back here, because they give us that excitement.
Man, for audio fans that are listening on the audio podcast, Manny is literally changing his background every 5 minutes to coincide with his points, and it's pretty effective. So no, good stuff right there. I want to get to this comic that I think is a great one for our brother Puerto Rican Rum. I want Regis versus Boots Ennis. Regis has said he wants to move up to both claim to be avoided. Man, that would be amazing. That would be like Christmas Came Early, or twice, I guess. Man, sign me up for that. Chicano Prophet, who's been known on record to hate Berlanga. I have no idea. Berlanga knows that he has something to prove.
He's been humbled.
He's been humbled online.
Got his ass humbled.
Right. He's been humble pied, and I like all kinds of pie, especially humble. And as well. If my team's manager, I told my power on Progress, Regis, left hand power.
Nah, man, you don't want to throw him in there to Regis. Regis will eat him alive.
You think so?
To Sabrina Matias? Hell yeah, bro. Man, Regis will with his the way the Matias defense is playing. Walking right into Regis' hands.
I mean, I threw it out there earlier because there's a possibility this is what we want to be able to see.
You trying to get him killed, Gringo? What the hell, man?
No, man.
Yeah,
I
mean, trying to get that young, he just suffered a victory.
I'm just asking questions. We
gotta be realistic, right?
What's going on here?
Oh no, so just keeping it on the record though, because we don't want to lose track of this momentum we're building up here. I'll go ahead and say it right now since we have our brothers tuning in. Thanks for everybody tuning in.
Thank you.
I'm actually pretty concerned about Berlanga in the next fight. I'm not gonna lie,
bro.
Are
you?
Steve Rose.
Because Rose fought your boy Triple G. Is that what you're saying? That he's
well, yeah. I mean,
are you doing me right now? No, that's not the thing. I think it's not even really about the opponent so much. No, I'm concerned.
Okay, do you think that match it's actually a perfect matchmaking for him at this
I think
this stage of his career?
On paper, it's a perfect matchmaking opponent, but I'm saying the pressure that's put on him, being in New York, during on a big card, being the main event. I'm just saying the mental fortitude he's going to need to overcome his lack of impressive performance last time. I'm hoping he's not trying to go in there and do more than he needs to pull out the victory. I'm glad he's behind the whole knockout streak, which only Top Rank and Joe Tessitore cared about.
Yeah, Joe Tessitore
with his weird ass. But shout out to him. In his anyway. But that's kind of my concern as far as mentally. Let's just because that is a huge aspect of this. Do you think there is some concerns and some cobwebs and some demons that could come to surface under the pressure? Like, do you think he has the mental fortitude to be the guy, or he's going to crack under the pressure? Just honestly,
that's a good question, Gringo, and good thought for you, because I think that a lot of that stuff it's kind of fading away with the last fight, and right now I expect and I think we're going to see a much relaxed. Less pressured Berlanga on this next fight. I think last two fights where people were hoping, that first round streak will continue, and it didn't happen. And then he comes back again, the last fight and gets dropped. Right. I think that needed to happen to humble himself a little bit more. We haven't heard anything in social medias. We haven't heard any trash talking, anything like that. I think he's digesting what happened in the previous fight. You guys, you watched the fight again, and when he was dropped, he was like hitting himself, and a lot of people were asking why was he doing that. The reason he was doing that, he knew he made some mistakes. I think he knew he was a little bit hurt, and he got caught pretty bad. And he's like, "Fuck this shit! I got hit. I got dropped. Okay, wow, boom, shocking. There's a lot of emotions in that, but I think after all, everything that happened, throughout the last few months, surgery and all that, I expect a much humble, a much focused, and someone that's not just trying to knock out, someone that's trying to build himself up and learn from every experience and everything that happens inside the ring. So I don't think he's going to have a lot of pressure anymore. I think he's already been in the spotlight, and I think he handled himself well, but he needed to humble himself just a little bit more, get back to the grind, work on some of the things he needed to work. Remember, he has a lot of amateur career fights, but on the pros, he never had that long, extensive experience. Everything was knockout in the first round. Now he's seen that in the last 2 rounds. So I think right now he is ready, for that next level. But you got to take it one fight at a time.
No, man, well said, man. You should be a politician. I'd vote for you. Nah, probably not. Hopper, what's your thoughts? I mean, honestly, and just act like Manny's not here because I know he's an intimidating guy, especially with the backgrounds. But what's your thoughts on Berlanga? Just honestly, what comes to mind when this fight coming up? Are you excited to watch him, or you're more excited to see the guys on the undercard? Just speak from the heart, brother.
I'm excited to watch him, man. But my thoughts on Berlanga are unfinished yet. It's still a question mark. Let's see where he's at. I want to see him tested with some of these higher level guys. Rolls Royce he's been in tough fights with Gringo's boy Triple G. So it's a barometer fight. Let's just gauge to see where he's at. So I'll leave it at that. I'll reserve my opinion for Berlanga after the Rose fight. How's that?
No, hey, and that's a fair statement. All right, so we got some comments here we want to get to, and let's get to them now before we get ready to close things out with our final thoughts. News and notes as well. So Chicano Prophet said it's a 10-round fight. Proud of Berlanga, and he's winking because he's a closet hater. He's not even a closet hater. He's just straight up hater. Just kidding. And Lee Grove says, pun intended, Berlanga is slowing his roll by fighting Rowe, who is 37 and not a massive puncher. He should learn more about Berlanga worth here. But the environment is less demanding. All right, that's a fair assessment. Of course, Lee Grove's got some great points. G Funky said Berlanga will be fine. Damn it, G Funky. I love you. All right, now I think Berlanga will look good. These last 2 distance fights were good for him. I agree with that. No Paul. All right, so it's tough, man. Top Rank should be a little bit more conservative with the hype.
They got to use them. They got to. I disagree on that. They have to use the guys they currently have right now, and they are. And I think Top Rank's doing a really, really good job. Building some of these cards, which are free through ESPN, ESPN Plus,
free.
And it's important. I think it's fine.
Yeah, Ringside Reporter. Check them out later, 5 p.m. Eastern time on the Ringside Reporter. JC says Berlanga will end up like Mama, just another hype job. He was a champion though, and he was in great fights. My favorites actually, but. I see your point. Definitely some good stuff there. And here we go. So let's go ahead and get real quickly to some other things that are going to be happening and going on in boxing that we care about. Our man, the man, is going to be fighting on January 29th, and our brother's going to be in the house. He's been sparring. He's been sparring.
The truth.
Right? He's been, and we're not going to be interviewing Arrow. I mean, that would be amazing, Arrow, if you're willing to do that, please. But we're going to be interviewing our man, Mark Eduardo Vasquez, and he's going to be fighting on the WBC tournament as the main event. He's not a part of the tournament, but he is the main event on that card. And we're excited to be talking about him. We're going to be talking to him Wednesday. Once we confirm the time, we'll post it on there. And we also recently interviewed, we had the honor, and my brother Manny did an amazing job. That was one of my favorite interviews we've done. Rafa Listo Gaitan talking about his opportunities with the Dynasty Gaitan. And they have a lot of things coming up for them that we're really excited about. It looks like he's going to be fighting in the UK. He's got some things with Dylan White and his family. And, so we're really excited about him and his development and continued improvement on to his career. So excited for them. And, man, it's been a really great show. And I want to go ahead and leave the last thoughts for our brothers. Finally, Hopper, thanks again for jumping on. We know we kind of...
Problem, brother.
Yeah, so what you got for us, man? Any last thoughts or anything you want to put out there?
Yes, man, I got a thought. Oh, we took an L last night. La Raza did. UFC 270, my boy Brandon, the assassin baby Moreno, lost last night. Chinga, took an L. He's just been, he was training with Canelo. I figured he was going to go in there and two. Nah, he lost. Split decision, third fight. They gave it to the Brazilian, Devason Figueiredo. So, he lost, man. He modeled Brandon Moreno, assassin baby, and that's the only time we'll talk UFC. So I had to throw it in there because he's Mexican.
Hey, man, there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, that's a great thing. That's actually what I've heard is a plus. So we appreciate that. Good shout out to him. And he'll be back. And, I'm not a UFC fan, but, I did see Hollis in the fight. And if I were ever to get in the UFC, I would definitely like to see.
Oh, yeah. You would dominate, man.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I'd be all into it.
I would pay to see you fight at the UFC.
I think anybody would, right? I would die immediately afterward, and whoever agreed to fight me, man, they're going to man. All right, so Manny, final thoughts. Anything you want to take away from the fight?
I just love being in this scenery.
Top rank.
Top rank. ESPN. Listen, we've talked about Puerto Ricans. We talked about top ranks. But what we need to know is they're putting on a show February. It's going to be a huge, huge month for Top Ranks and their boxing stable. Listen, Ramirez versus Donovan. You're going to have Kirk Walker, Patty Donovan, Kieran Malloy. Dude, these are some of the best prospects Top Ranks bringing up and putting them together, putting up some cards, putting up the show. It is time to see these new guys coming up and give us excitement. And that's not only that. A lot of stuff is going to happen. Here, we're going to continue to break it down like it is, like it should. We appreciate your support, guys. Remember, EnVivo, siempre.
Absolutely, man. Man, that guy loves Puerto Rico, as he should. We love him too.
Puerto Rican or something.
Yeah, that's like our huge fan base. I'm just putting it out there. We love you guys so much. Shout out to Puerto Rico. But also shout out to the HTP. They've been a huge supporter to us, and
love you guys
to be a part of you guys at Shown
Tuesday, 8 o'clock.
Tuesday, 8 o'clock. We're going to be on the HCP show, which is an honor.
Be square.
We're going to be there with our man.
We're going to be there, guys.
Nancy.
And all of you guys, fans of us, support these guys. They are awesome, and they're grinding every day, bringing you the latest news in terms of boxing, what's happening in their perspective, which is a lot better, right? We as fans, we can have the right to say what we need to say, and that's what we do here on the HCP. Vivo!
Absolutely. So we're going to go ahead and close out right now. Thank you guys for tuning in. And as always, we're going to go ahead and close out with that trailer that shows all these great shows. If you haven't followed, you need to follow now. It's not just a movement of boxing supporters, it's a movement of boxing real talk, and that's what we need more in boxing. Whether you agree, love us, hate us, debate us, HCP is talking that real shit, and if you want that real shit, you know where to go. So thank you guys so much love, support, and we out.
Mexicanos, alguito de guerra.
It's Maestro A, it's Kenny T. I'm back in New York City after a weekend in Las Vegas.
We got Power Punchers episode 2, episode dos. Hit that like button as you come in.
It's your boy Dave from the 408 coming to you all the way from my podcast studio in San Jose, Califas. You know what time it is. It's time for the shoot.
Everyone, welcome to Al Chile. We got my partners in crime, Run PMC and Nopal with us and visiting us for the first time. Al Chile means keeping it
style real. Boxing. Thanks to those joining me live. Those that be joining me here on Archive. I've been joined by the new co-host of ATP, Nancy, from the Boxing Republic.
It's my birthday, and then obviously, Red says to me, these are my girls. You have to make sure you do the interview for them. I said, you know what? Even though it's my birthday, we'll do it. No problem.
Oh, you're amazing.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All-Star panel, the round table, number 58. Really good weekend.
Seguimos en vivo. We are live, ladies and gentlemen. Como siempre, Mari Marrero.
Sean El Gringo Hicksa.
Hopper.
Hey.
Always breaking it down like it is, like it should.
Welcome to the Ringside Reporters Show, where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we're going to talk about it right here. My name is Eric Lorta, and I'm here with my co-host, Joe Habib.